podcast. People just want to be lazy. What's up, everybody? It's me, Johnny. With me, I have DJD and Farmer and Craig. The band is back together. What's up, everybody?
Boom, 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 boom.
Starting the stage, I am.
So, we have been having a great 4-minute discussion about the MCU. That's just gone. It's not recorded. Just want to throw that out there.
All the good stuff is never recorded.
Yeah. We started talking about the MCU because my son just started his summer break, and our goal for this summer break is to watch all the MCU movies. Which I want to say, there's like more than 30, by the way.
Yeah,
it's quite an undertaking
right
now.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy. It's almost like a, I wouldn't say job, but it's something, you know, like to that degree. It's like very involved to go through.
We have to watch at least one basically every day because he only has a 6-week break. We basically have to watch one every day to make it work.
It's that time, everybody.
Kind of. So far, every evening we've watched. We had already watched 3, and we're watching them chronologically. So we watched Captain America, we watched Captain Marvel, and we now are watching, or we watched Iron Man, and then we've got, oh, there we go, we're good. And then we watched Iron Man 2 and Thor. So next is Avengers, which is a fantastic movie. But we also, Farm, have you ever noticed this? Have you noticed that the Avengers movie is basically the exact same movie as Transformers 3?
Yeah, you know, I think I put that together a while back when that came out, and it's kind of crazy when you think about it.
And they're both great. That's not a comment at all about either. They're both awesome. I love both.
They're both great, but the same thing is happening, you know.
Yeah, like the big portal with like the army coming through that like a small group of
major
people have
destruction
to
in the city, and the only difference is that, you know, you've got Optimus Prime and your Autobots versus your Avengers. You know, it's just like
I have Transformers on the mind a little bit because every month I host an English movie night at the school that I teach at, and we watched Transformers 1.
Oh, wow.
And that's a great movie. What a great movie, man.
Man, it's been so long.
I stopped watching Transformers after the 3rd movie. I haven't seen any of them after that. But it's the first one, fantastic film. I would go as far as to call it a film, right? It's cinema. It's so good. Highly recommend.
I've watched a few after the fact, and some of them are, you know, it's kind of like hit or miss. Some of them are good, some of them are not. I didn't mind the Bumblebee one, and the one with Mark Wahlberg, you know, it was decent.
Oh, actually, I did have a criticism of the Bumblebee movie where they go out of their way to show that Haley Steinfeld is like good at working on cars. Okay. Right. And they do it in a really tasteful way to show that she knows what she's doing. And they just never bring it up again in the movie. There's like no payoff for it.
Sure, yeah.
Like right at the beginning.
They check that box, but they don't bring. They don't see it.
Yeah, they just don't bring it back around. And it's like, did they lose this? Like, was it gonna be a thing and they didn't? I don't know. But like at the beginning, they show that, and I'm like, okay, I see it. You know, I'm already like, oh, so Bumblebee's gonna break down or something, and she's gonna be the one to fix it. Nope, it just turned out that it was nothing. Just a little.
It's literally. I feel like it's literally just like in a whole, like you have like a female protagonist here. You know.
Well, that makes sense, I guess.
But it would have been cool to like do that and then have a little bit of payoff. I feel like
yeah,
or not do it at all. And guess what? It's fine for a woman to be like the main character. Like,
yeah, you don't have to explain it, just like you don't have to explain the fuzzy dice in the Millennium Falcon. You know, just stuff like that.
Why did we bring that up?
I'm sorry. I just can't help it. That's what came to my head.
I didn't even notice the fuzzy dice in the Millennium Falcon. That was like the weird thing to me. is it's like I have a Star Wars tattoo. I've read a ton of Star Wars books. I've watched the Star Wars movies so many times. And then when the sequel trilogy came out, all of a sudden everyone's talking about fuzzy dice, right? And I'm just like, is this a thing? Did I miss this? Did this happen? Apparently I did. Apparently that was a thing that I just never picked up on as a kid. Oh my God.
It's the little things.
To try and tie in our older conversation, Farm, you were talking about being lazy and following the nav point.
Yeah. I feel like well, I actually can't remember what movie we were talking about, but I feel like at least in games, a lot of times these days that it's just kind of handed to us, and maybe even movies at that point. David and I were talking about kind of like thinking a little bit more in depth in the movie instead of it being handed to us, kind of like on a silver platter. And I just think, you miss so much when you just get it handed to you. When you actually have to think about something, you can kind of rewatch some of these movies and still, get something again and again and again from them. I don't know how many movies like in the past, like when I rewatch them, they still have value. But there's something about some of these movies where they're like stacked up to be like such a journey that you have to be like told where to go, that there's no really rewatchability on some of these movies. So they're some of it's good, but you got to be careful because you're losing some of your cinematic value, of rewatchability, and that's just a kind of a concern.
I think that it's in the end just like a totally different viewpoint on like the point of cinema and the point of telling a story, right? Because if you're so like for the dumbed down movie that really holds your hand through the whole movie, or like for the game that gives the you're just following the waypoints, right? I think the idea there is like we want to make sure that they get the message we want them to get. Just period.
Right, exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Like,
well, what it reminds me of is like the old Resident Evil games, how like the camera was like completely controlled,
Yeah.
and you
just
had
locked.
zero control over it. So like, so like it would pan over to like an alleyway and you'd see a monster, and it's like, this was like, there was no way to avoid seeing that monster.
Yeah, this is it. You have to do it. And there is some value to it because especially if you really want what you want to get across, right? Then that's how you do it. You just like really lay it out for people. Like you don't want people. There is some value in that. Like people can get the wrong message, right? From something. Like people could misinterpret something, and that could be a whole thing. But there is also this, and this is the ones that stick with you though. When there is hold on, let's take one step back again. And there's like, it's hitting that lowest common denominator. Everyone is going to understand this, right? Everyone, like it's as many people as possible are going to get the message that we want them to get. But if you raise that standard, right, exactly. But if you raise that standard, things are more open to interpretation, right? And maybe people don't pick up on, maybe people don't notice the fuzzy dice, and the message that you're trying to share with it. But you also, people get to think about it, and it gives ownership in a new way, right? Like a good teacher doesn't just tell you the answer to something, right? They teach you how to walk through something, right? And then you kind of arrive at the answer yourself.
Yeah, you have to go through the journey, because if not, then again you'll come to that same problem, or you'll come to that whatever it is, and you won't retain any sense of no recollection of what it took to get there. But those moments, I mean, I'm sure we've all had them. Any of those moments where we've really like had that kind of payoff, where we've actually done the time, you remember, you go right back to that first moment that this happened, and you're like, I know how to do this because I had to work through it. I had to get from point A to point B, and it might have taken a little bit of a journey along the way just to get there. But because of that, it was very impactful, and it made an impression on me, And so it's like, do you want to lose any of that? it's kind of like you have to, as I'm sure as a storyteller, you have to say, okay, what are the key points we want to make sure are definitely, declared and
Right.
are actually like points of reference, and then what other points are we going to be more vague and actually let maybe more of the diehard fans like just kind of dream on it, just like
Right.
think what, and it could be a whole different thing, and it's I can't imagine, being a storyteller, it's got to be hard because you want to kind of do both, in my opinion. You don't want to do too much handing whatever, you don't want to hold people's hand the whole way, but at the same time, they have to know where you're going in a way. So
Well,
it's
that
like,
and media literacy is just down, right?
Yeah,
People
this is
just in general. So like we could talk about like this is the whole thing of audience, right? Okay, so this is an adult film, not like that kind of adult film, but this is a film to adults. So like you would expect like a rated R movie that the people watching it are adults, and so they should be able to pick up on certain things, right? Even if they're not film buffs or they're not super into all of these different things that like, oh, the director's saying this because of this and this, they should be able to infer a lot of information, right? But like with kids movies, kids don't quite have that ability yet, right? And so definitely kids movies are a lot heavier handed in their messaging because that's for a kid to get it. It needs to be presented more clearly, right? But I feel like the gap between kids movies and movies marketed toward, teenagers and adults, like that gap is closing and not in a good way, right? It's just they're just lowering and lowering it and just like, okay, this is what you're supposed to be getting from this kind of a deal. And it's funny you bring that up. I was thinking of while you were talking about noticing things and having to work through it. I recently, this last year, rewatched the first 2 seasons of Westworld. And the character who created the park, one of the things he talked about is he's like, the way that you get people to come back is actually in the details. It's like they notice a little detail that they think no one else has noticed and no one else knows about this park. He's like, but it was created by us for them to notice it. That was like his like type of spiel. And I was thinking about that too. Yeah. When you really love a piece of media, right? You think it's like, oh man, I noticed this thing. Am I the only person who noticed it? I need to talk with other people about this thing and see, did anyone else pick up on this thing that I picked up on? It leads into this whole thing, as opposed to if everything is really clear, that whole conversation just doesn't happen.
Right. Yeah. And that goes right back to like having your own like interpretation or whatever and seeing how others' interpretations line up. Like I think the best art doesn't answer questions, it asks them, right?
Yeah, I like storytelling with that sub level of storytelling, and that any good story that kind of alludes like it could be this, but it lets you kind of wonder. I like that aspect because it really, especially if you're kind of die hard into that series or whatever, you're gonna want to take the extra time to like look through these Easter eggs or find these little little things that they've left, little breadcrumbs along the way that you can maybe make your own investigative decision of what it could be. It kind of gets the blood pumping a little bit. You get you really going, and you could be dead on, and you could be way off. And I think we've all been there. Like we called it, and then other times when we thought we called it, we had it for sure, and then we were wrong. But it's the journey. It's the journey.
It's one of the examples I would give is I've probably seen Moana 2, which came out like, last year. I think I've probably seen that movie 50 times because my daughters really loved it. So there was a time we were watching it at least once a day. Right. And it's funny because even that people be like, well, I don't know, Johnny, that's not necessarily that deep. There's a lot there. But even in that, watching it that many times, I definitely picked up on things that I didn't pick up on the first couple times I watched it, right? If I'm like, oh, I think this connection is this. Oh, wow, I think this and this. Oh, interesting. So it doesn't have to be all or the other, but I definitely do. I do appreciate when they let you make the connections and figure those things out. I really do. Like,
well,
I don't regret not watching shows when they come out. I don't regret that at all. Like, but then the one thing I do kind of am bummed about, I am a little bummed I didn't get to be a part of like the WandaVision conversation when that was happening. Right?
Sure. Yeah.
I remember that was a whole thing and the theories about it.
I feel like it's so rare to, and maybe that actually enhances like the whole like specialness of it, that like a show actually asks questions instead of like telling you the answers, and so like those experiences then become, because of their rarity, kind of more treasured, I feel like, and more missed out on when you're not in the conversation, which I don't know, can be good and bad, I guess. But also, we're also touching on the edge of why I love video games, right? Because then you have even more agency to kind of make that experience your own, enhance your own perception, have a completely different experience than potentially anyone else, just by making the choices that you make, and then being able to like talk with others and like relate your experience to them almost as if like you lived that experience, which I think is actually one of the coolest things about video games as an art medium, is that complexity and that like agency that you have as a player.
Well, 100%. It's the like, it sounds weird to say it's like the ultimate form of storytelling, but kind of, I think, right?
Yeah.
Of like getting to participate and do that. And I would even say, even to the point, like some people would be like, well, what about, let's talk like Skyrim versus The Witcher 3. In Skyrim, you are the character, right? You create your own character, and it's supposed to kind of be a reflection of you. The Witcher 3 is Geralt, right? And you are making Geralt's decisions, but you are a person who exists in this fantasy world. I think both are great.
Yes.
I love both quite a bit. I think recently, when I was younger, I think I really liked the Skyrim approach, but more recently, I also really love, the Witcher approach. And I know lots of games do it, the God of War approach or whatever, right? Like of going through what this character's going through and then deciding for yourself, like, well, what do I want to do? What do I think this character would do? And like, especially in like games where like that really matters, right? Oh, so good.
And that's a prime example of like having that your linear kind of storytelling in an open world kind of way, because yes, they're still trying to get you to the end of the story line, but there's so many different variables and of ways you can do it that, again, nobody's going to have that exact experience, even though there are definitely certain patterns that everybody's going to hit. And it's so fascinating, the kind of the weaving of the whole thing, just to be able to actually come up with all these different ways, and then it really lets you as a gamer or somebody who's into fantasy or anything, kind of like really just go at it, and just
totally
and really just be immersed into this world that's like, okay, I like to do this, I'm going to go do that, and you don't have to follow a strict guideline. There's no, you get to figure it out, and it doesn't have to be like the same way the same day, or a different day. I might decide I want to do this, and tomorrow I might decide I want to go do this, just because it was a different day. And that's a really cool thing about those sort of things. You never know. I was even thinking about this, or just around the house, just like, just why I do certain things differently, because I'm not a robot, like, why don't I do like the trash the same way every single time, like just weird things. But I was just kind of thinking the other day, is like, I don't think I would have ever done it that way, but something else occurred to me that day. Something else happened, and then I ended up doing something differently. And that's kind of how even we individually like kind of function in our own homes and things like that. Like a lot of things we do the same way, but there are different inflections of like variation to it, even if we do it, the same thing, but a little bit different, and it just, the more that the developers delve into that, like really into like the player, like being unique and like just having that experience, the more it's just awesome, just as a gamer or anybody who like just delves into any of these things, because it's just like you're painting your own tapestry at that point. It's art at that point, and it's just really awesome.
And that's why Starfield was our game of the year this year.
I was actually just thinking about Starfield. When Johnny was talking about having all these different things, how the outcomes, and he mentioned those games, I was just thinking what the first time we played through, like how different our missions were and how differently we just did everything.
Yeah.
But it's so true. Like newer games, it doesn't have to be Starfield, but the newer games, the way that they're developing it, it's just it's crazy where we've come from. Like just having more chances to just do these things. It's so much more like cohesively with the way we play in our play style, and like I'm excited to see what they do with Witcher 4 and all the other new games that are coming out, because they have even more technology, even more immersion with using like real, like NPCs being almost in a way lifelike with AI and all this stuff. So I'm just interested. I'm interested to see how they use it.
I'm just thinking of like, for a while, ChatGPT, if you asked it how many R's are in strawberry, it would say there's only 2, but there's 3. Right. And it's like, man, with the technology behind it, with AI, they're even more lifelike. You just run into stuff like that.
No, there's plenty of flaws, but that's like, that isn't that part of the fun though too.
I mean, it can be fun. It can also be agonizing. I just read an article like literally just today about how apparently there's this AI that's used a lot for coding called Replit AI. And this team was using it to, I guess the term is vibe code, where like you're not necessarily like super like using like a lot of code yourself. You're kind of relying on the AI to do it. And they got to a point where they're like, okay, we need to like stop everything. We need to put a freeze on everything just to make sure that everything's like input correctly and everything, because we need to double check our work. And the AI continued to just like delete like chunks of their code.
Delete.
Yeah.
All this code that took them forever.
Yeah. It was like a devastating thing. Like, I mean, like they were, yeah.
There's movies on this little
but also,
thing. Right?
There's people who make mistakes like that too. I mean,
it's true.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I mean, how many of us have deleted something? Right? Like, yeah, exactly.
Oh, I was gonna say, all have.
How many people? We all know somebody. If you ask them how many R's are in strawberry, they would also say 2.
Right. Yeah.
Right. We all know there's 2, Johnny. There's 2. Be like, oh my god.
How many states are there? I mean, like,
yeah. How many states are there? Yeah.
Depends
like,
on who you
people.
Ask.
There are people. Yeah. No, agreed. Like, I mean, obviously people make mistakes too. Like, some people, maybe they bring their mistress to a Coldplay concert.
Oh my god.
Right.
Instead of their wife, and they end up, maybe getting on the Jumbotron. And instead of playing it cool, instead of playing it cool, they just totally freak out.
Freaking out, like, yeah, viral.
I like that now kiss cams are called Coldplay cams. That's just a thing now. And they like play Coldplay music during the kiss cam. That's what's up. I heard one friend of mine brought up like this theory that what if it was like all a plant? That like this is like a huge marketing stunt so that everyone knows the name of his company, Astronomer, kind of a deal. And he was like, yeah, what if it wasn't even real, man? What if they did that? What if this is like a fake viral moment? And they did that and it's just cheaper marketing.
That's genius marketing.
That would
honestly,
be extremely genius. But yeah, I mean,
Kanye West was their consultant on marketing.
Like, I mean, this day and age, that's the way to get viral, is to do something like that. Like it's so much cheaper. It's got to be more cheaper. Like,
yeah. Are you guys ready? We're about to make a Navcast viral. Are you ready?
Oh no!
Yeah. What are we doing?
I don't know. I don't have a suggestion. So I was just kidding.
I thought you had like some secret files to release or something.
Well, I could just add in a bunch of sensors, right? Act like we're talking, and it's just like, yeah.
The one thing that bugged me about that whole conversation was people saying like he shouldn't have been fired for cheating, and it's like, okay, fine, but like I don't disagree with that. But cheating with your head of HR is absolutely a problem. Like that's
right. But, well, that, and I will say this: when you have, and this reflects, I think, on all levels of society, or it should, and people feel like it should, even if it doesn't. Which is, the higher up in responsibility and power you have, the more severe consequences and the more of your life gets brought into play in it. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Should. Yes.
If he was like a cashier at a 7-Eleven, sure. Like, why would he get fired for cheating? It doesn't really matter. For him to be the face of that big company, for the head of HR to be involved, for it to turn into this whole thing for the company. Yeah. That's the kind of stuff that, like, you'll get fired for when you have that kind of responsibility and you're making that kind of money,
I mean, I would agree with you before January 20th of this year.
Right. Well, that's what I said. What I said is that even if it's not that way, it feels like it should be.
Yes.
Right.
No, absolutely.
It should be that way, where it's like,
great power should come greater standards, greater responsibility. Yeah, you should lead in terms of like character, in terms of example, right? Like that's the whole point of leadership, is to set that example, to set that bar so that people aspire to it. And yeah, that just doesn't seem to happen right now, which is unfortunate. But like, yeah.
Can someone make a meme where it's like Master Chief holding like the new Cortana, and it like goes onto them, and then they're like, oh no, right? Huh? Or maybe not Cortana, it could be like ChatGPT. I just like all
the problem of the whole Cortana thing is that Cortana was an actual thing, and then it's gone.
Listen, like this country, and by this country I mean the country you guys live in, I don't live there anymore, needed something to bring it together, right? And it did. It's beautiful.
It's not the hero we need, we deserved, but it's the one we need right now.
Do you? God, I don't think Christopher Nolan knew like how much that's going to get quoted. Like, it's not the.
Well, isn't that the line that his like brother wrote? Isn't that the one that Jonathan wrote? Yeah, and he's like, I don't even know what that means.
The one we deserve, but the one we need right now. Oh, so good.
Yeah, it's so quoted everywhere.
Yeah,
so good. Yeah. So we're gonna chase him because he can take it, right? That's the whole ending of that movie. Like, everyone talks about how great The Dark Knight is, right? That third act really falls apart quick. Like, it's just all over the place.
It is, yes. Yeah.
Like, it's just crazy. And so the first time I went to see The Dark Knight in theaters, that movie was so long, right? And I really had to go to the bathroom. And I was like, oh, the movie's almost over, so surely I'll have to go to I'll be able to go to the bathroom soon. No, there was like another 45 minutes that I had to wait. And I felt like I had to go so bad, and I didn't go. I should have just went because I thought the movie was ending. But like that whole ending, the first time I watched it, it felt like a fever dream. What is happening?
Just pushing to get through it.
The boats and all of that happened, and then like they get the Joker, and now there's Harvey Dent and these conversations, and now the police are chasing Batman, and Lucius is like, it was just everywhere,
and they're killing villains left and right, and it's like, wait a second, that villain's dying already? What? Like, you just introduced them.
Yeah, like it was crazy. What people like to hate on like the Act 3 of Marvel, right? Like, oh, Marvel movies fall apart in Act 3. The Dark Knight falls apart pretty bad in Act 3. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. Listen, Listen.
Well, I mean, what the Dark Knight has going for it, though, is that it preceded the Dark Knight Rises. Okay.
Right,
Which,
exactly.
I mean, like, no one remembers that the Dark Knight falls apart in Act 3 when the Dark Knight Rises never comes together.
Never came together. Hey, listen. Trying to think of a good thing to say. Hey, remember the twist that we all saw coming of Talia? Remember? Hey, you know what? I really liked that weird plane sequence with Bane at the beginning. That was cool.
I still think about like Batman climbing up the pit, you know? Like that's kind of like a cool moment. It just doesn't necessarily matter that much. It's just
Right.
like, okay. Yeah.
I think about all the time the part where he's at the doctor and you know those X-rays and about his knees and all that. And like, why did you have to include that?
Yeah. Now that we're all in our 30s, and he's like, "Dude, your knees are
like,
destroyed,
Man.
bro."
Yeah, why'd you have to include that? You know.
But then he puts on a knee brace and he can kick through bricks. That makes sense. I get
like,
it.
It's all good now. Yeah, that,
it's the
whatever that
back
knee
brace.
brace was.
Well, that's
fixed
technology,
everything.
though. Technology fixes all your ailments. Okay, like
No,
I mean, we have Ozempic. We know this.
I like how in the Dark Knight Rises, people are like, "Hey, we heard you like Batman. What if we have a 3-hour movie and Batman's just not in it?"
Or at the
That's
very
why- I
end,
mean, that's
we're
kinda
gonna
like,
allude to something else and never, pay off on it.
Yeah.
Isn't that like one of the Superman movies? Isn't that like Superman Returns or something, where Superman isn't in it for like the first like 20 minutes or something?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I saw Superman Returns in theaters, and as someone who didn't really watch any other Superman movies until that one, I thought it was fine.
I was like,
As a first
you know what?
Superman
this
movie,
is
it was
this is
great.
watchable. Yeah.
Yeah, this is Superman, and it is a movie. So like, I'm doing.
And then I
it.
wondered why I had like kind of a low opinion of Superman for like years afterwards.
Kevin Spacey was Lex Luthor in that one. I remember, and it introduces him as Lex Luthor as like he's like with this like old lady, and as she's dying, she's like, "I really do love you," and she like signs away her fortune to him, and he's wearing a wig, and he like immediately gets up and walks away and doesn't care about like this dead lady that apparently he married. And she left him everything instead of his kids, and he takes off this gross wig, and it's like it's Lex Luthor.
I love that part where she's signing the will, and he has to finish it because she dies.
Yeah, she dies. And she signs, and oh my god, I forgot that. Yeah, and he even finishes it. Oh my god.
Yeah, so dark, but
and then Superman.
There's nothing more villainous than fraudulent paperwork, okay?
Yeah.
Right.
And then Superman had a baby with Lois Lane, but Lois Lane says it's this other guy's baby. And the other guy is Cyclops from X-Men.
Yeah.
Man.
Which
brutal,
also there's rumors that that's why he was killed off so quickly in X-Men.
Oh, in the
next, because he went with Singer to that. Yeah.
Wait, was Bryan Singer the director of that movie?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I didn't. Listen.
It's like I need you over here, so I'm gonna kill you off over here.
Gets shot in the eye, and the bullet just bounced off. That was cool.
That was cool. That was pretty cool.
What else happened in that movie? Oh, at one point, Superman tells Lois that he's like, let me take you flying. And she's like, no, I have a boyfriend, Superman, and he takes me flying all the time. And he's like, not like this. And then she like looks down and realizes they've been floating like up in the air, and he's flying her around without consent. Oh my goodness. Unconsensual flying, David, could you imagine?
I can't.
# not my Superman.
But I mean, like, yeah. I mean, I'm just glad that James Gunn has control now. That's all I gotta say.
So I still haven't seen Superman, and don't worry, I'm not gonna see it in theaters because I've got 2 small kids and I don't have time. Is the Robert Pattinson Batman just not gonna be a part of the DC? The new DC?
They've already said that it's not part of the same. Yeah.
So is there going to be another Batman? Are we going to have like 2 Batmans at the same time?
Apparently, yes.
Yes.
Oh my god!
It's not enough to have one. We need two at the same time. Okay.
I think the director of the Batman was given the option, and he was like, I'd prefer to do my own thing. Which, honestly, fair. You know, like I get not necessarily wanting to be like constrained. You know,
honestly,
especially if you already started
fair.
making something.
Not fair. Think about the parents, D. Think about when two different Batman movies are going to be in theaters. And the kids are like, I want to go see Batman. And then the parents are just like, fine, we're going to go see Batman. And then like they sit down and it starts. And then the kids are like, not this Batman.
It's the wrong one.
This is the wrong Batman. Or it is the one that ties in everything. And they're like, I like the dark and gritty teenage Batman, not like this colorful and hopeful, happy Batman.
I doubt that Batman will be colorful and hopeful in any universe, but like we'll see, I guess.
Hey, we've seen Batman like that in the 1960s.
And then the parents like have to go out and they like complain to the manager, right? And the manager of the movie theater is like an 18-year-old kid for some reason. And it's just like, I'm sorry. We can offer you a voucher.
A complimentary drink.
yeah, to see the other movie, I guess.
Would they even do that? It'd be like, I don't know. It'd be more like, I don't know.
Listen,
Did you not do
it's
your
hard
research?
enough to have 3 Spider-Men at this, right?
I mean,
it's hard enough to have 3 Spider-Men.
That reminds me of two things. First, that reminds me of the Office episode where they get pizza, and it's like pizza by Alfredo's or Alfredo's Pizza, and they get the wrong one, so they kidnap the pizza delivery boy and like tie him up in the conference room. And then that also reminds me of the one movie that Johnny and I walked out of because it was just like we couldn't take it, and that was Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh my god!
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
But is there a new Batman movie like in the works? Like, did they for sure say that?
I'm sure there's one in the works, but like they haven't said anything.
Yeah,
or
it's not
is he going to be
for
like
anything right
is
now.
he going to be like the Hulk? Are they going to introduce a Batman and he's just not going to have his own movie?
That's a great question too, because like I don't know how many like solo movies Gunn even necessarily needs to do, right? Because people are kind of familiar with the concept of superheroes and superheroes teaming up and everything. So I feel like actually DCU is in a pretty good spot of not necessarily needing to take 20 years to build a universe, because Marvel kind of has already introduced people to the concept of it. As long as they build up characters enough that people are familiar with them, like I think they're
well, and they've done the Batman story beginning how many times? Just this.
That's true.
The same thing I'm thinking with Spider-Man, and I'm glad what they did with the Tim Holland version. They need to do something like that.
I love Tim Holland.
Yeah, they need to do something like that with the Batman version that's tying to the DC universe.
So, like in the third Batman movie, that's the movie his parents die.
Yeah, maybe.
For Spider-Man, what is it? No Way Home. Like that's when Aunt May dies, and she says with great power comes great responsibility thing, right? That's
spoilers, but yeah.
Yeah, spoiler. In the third Batman movie, that's when his parents get shot and killed.
Oh, so it's gonna be like a before and bringing.
It's gonna be like Smallville, but for Batman. He never like actually wears the Bat outfit, but he wears like the Batman colors all the time for some reason.
Yeah, black. He wears a lot of black.
Black and like sometimes a light gray. Yeah, and there's all of these like allusions to it, but he never becomes.
For some reason,
Batman.
he's like he's always got these like weird emo bat earrings on, but it's like never explained.
Better yet, this is a story about he thinks he's Batman, but it's all in his head.
Ooh, that would be cool. Yeah,
I would also be okay with a post Bruce Wayne world.
Oh sure,
like,
yes, no, like oh my gosh, like, geez, can you imagine if James Gunn did Batman Beyond here?
It would be so good,
baby.
Well, Batman Beyond,
gosh.
or even like you've got Oracle or Batgirl,
That's the video
or
game one I want.
Nightwing, or
The next
the Bat
Batman
family.
video game I want is Batman Beyond, hands down.
Yeah, you've got the Bat family, and then you've got Batman at the doctor, and they're like, dude, your knees, dude. That's just not. There's nothing in there anymore.
This is in like the very, 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 very beginning of Superman. It's not spoilers, but like essentially, like the movie starts out telling you that metahumans have been around for 300 years, and so like the cool thing is that the world is already established, and so like a Batman would not be like that crazy for this world, It's just So we'll see what Gunn does, but I have hopes.
If they could just, like, as far as going to a video game for Batman, if they could just cross, like a cyberpunk-y kind of open world with, a Batman, like a Neo-Batman, like Batman Beyond world, that would be just, wow. I'm waiting for that.
And now you're making me want to play Cyberpunk 2077 and try to base my character off Batman. That's
you kind of have to,
I have that game on the Steam Deck and I haven't played it. I have it mobile, I haven't played it yet.
They just came out with a new patch for that.
You can actually do a pretty decent job of making a Batman-like character too, actually.
Right.
Like,
I'm sure there's got to be some kind of like patch, like some kind of mod that you can.
Okay, let's talk about this one patch here. Hold on, let's talk about this. Do you know, so like if I made my Cyberpunk character to be like a melee weapon, hand-to-hand kind of person, right? And when I was playing the game before I had a glitch that just ruined my file, if you had a knife...
Well, I don't know what happened here, but I don't hear anybody.
I didn't hear anybody for a long time, and now I hear you.
Yeah.
This recording is going to be great.
It was so quiet that I was like, I've got to talk. I've got to do something here.
Well,
I don't know what happened.
I was talking.
Everybody cut off.
So everyone cut out. So what is Craig going to hear? What is the last thing you guys heard?
The last thing I heard was, if I had a knife. That's the last thing
I
heard.
had a knife, yeah. He's like, I was...
Okay.
And then I was thinking...
Wait,
Johnny, you played this like Starfield with the melee only?
All right, hold on. Okay, so I'll just try and pick it back up. Let's see if we can fix this. Let's see if we can fix this for the recording. What is Craig even going to hear? If I had a knife, you could throw it, but you wouldn't automatically get it back. You had to like go find it. And then apparently in an update, you like if you throw a knife, you just get it back, which I'm kind of cool with. Because to be honest, I never would throw them because of that. Because I was just like, I don't want to lose this knife. This is a nice knife. But
that's like me in Baldur's Gate.
Then I said that, and you guys didn't respond for a long time. And then I was like, well, we have been recording for a while. So is there anything you guys want to wrap up with? And then it was really quiet, even longer. And I was like, uh-oh.
When you throw a knife, and you throw it far enough, it's gone, just like the end of this podcast.
Just like the end of this podcast. Exactly.
And the end of, and we should talk about this more next week, Zune.
The end of Zune. Oh man, yes, we don't have time really to talk about it, but I read somewhere that Microsoft stopped selling videos and stuff.
Movies and TV will no longer sell videos. You can still use it to watch, but no more. Buying.
Yeah, I got that email the other day, and I'm like,
it was sudden, like just abrupt, like no more. Yeah,
this is typical Microsoft. That's all I want to say.
Yeah.
And on that note, make sure you like and subscribe on your Microsoft devices, and we will catch you all later.
Rest in peace, Zoom/Groove/
Get out of here, Craig.